3AW 693, Andrew McLaren.
You're overnight on 3AW, and it's time we talk media with our media man, of course, Nic Hayes. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning, Mr. McLaren. Now, you were whinging about the weather last week. Has it improved in Melbourne?
Well, it's improved from last week, but it's still mighty cold. What was it like today in Perth?
25 degrees, Andrew. 25 degrees. We're a little confused here. We're starting to think it's heading towards summer already.
That's amazing, isn't it? You're still a bit dry, though, because I know your reservoirs have been down for a while.
Had record rains a month ago. It was incredible. We're swimming in water. We're bathed in sunshine. It's the greatest place in the world. Come and live in Western Australia.
I know, you're a bit of a convert, because we should mention, in case people don't know, you're originally a Melbourne boy, weren't you?
I'm a Mentone boy. I'm a St. Bede's College boy. I was born and bred in Mentone, and I know how cold it gets in Melbourne. I tell you what, but you know what? I still, as living in Western Australia, there's one thing you can as hot as it gets, you cannot take off enough clothes. At least in good old Melbourne, you can put on more clothes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, St. Bede's, that's the one right on Beach Road, isn't it?
Oh, yep, spot on. Down to the Edgy Hotel.
That's right. Oh, on a winter's afternoon, I can imagine that wind whipping across the bay, across the playing fields at St. Bede's. It would have been mighty crisp, wouldn't it?
I was in the second 18 football team. I think I spent more time swimming in the mud than kicking the football. It was absolutely gorgeous. Wouldn't change any of it. And no, I love and adore Mentone. It is
a lovely spot. Often not talked about as a Melbourne suburb much. It's kind of overlooked. You think of Frankston and further down the line, don't you? But Mentone is rather wonderful.
Yeah, and it used to be a little holiday destination. It used to be a holiday destination back in the early, in the 20s and 30s.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That Grand Hotel just near St. Bede's, isn't it? Really?
That's right. The Mentone Hotel.
Yeah.
Great little watering hole. I'm not sure what it's like these days. I haven't been in there for a long, long time.
Now, some lovely old Victorian homes dotted around from those days you're talking about when people took the waters down at Mentone.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, well, now to matters of today and matters in the media. And baby Gammy, of course, is the huge media story in the last few days.
Yeah, it has been for the last week, Andrew, and we touched on it very briefly last week, and I think we might have mentioned that there was going to be a lot more of this story to come, because I think we'd only literally scratched the surface of this. And a story that obviously on 60 Minutes on Sunday night was covered extensively by Tara Brown, who did a very good job. I think most who watched it, in fact just over 1 million viewers took to 60 Minutes on Sunday, thought that Tara did a fantastic job. You could see that she was actually quite emotional. This was a story that wouldn't have been easy, because a lot of the questioning are questions that you really maybe shouldn't and couldn't or shouldn't be asking, but they were questions that the Australians all over the country wanted answers to, because there were so many holes in this story, so many things coming to light, and so many people weighing into the story. It almost captured the nation, because this is almost all we were talking about. And whenever you're dealing with children, and children particularly that are not well or are at risk, it will be a very, very big issue, and Australians are very focused on it.
Indeed they are too. I thought Tara Brown did handle it very well.
She did, and she's been applauded for it. In fact, a lot of people around the country, a lot of media outlets outside of Channel 9 even acknowledging how Tara dealt with it. She did a fantastic job. Social media thought she did a great job as well. They weren't particularly fond of the father. They were the social media, and also to a lot of talkback callers right around the country, very, very negative towards him. Obviously, the sex offences that he had of the past were very much the focus, and whether he had rehabilitated, or the fact that he didn't come across in that interview very, very well at all. And I'm not suggesting at all that Channel 9 may have doctored it or put it forward, because I don't think they needed to. This guy just did not deal with this very well, and he is probably, as some have suggested, the most hated parents in Australia.
As you point out, there are more holes in the story now than there were a week ago. It is a very convoluted tale, isn't it?
Very convoluted, very confusing. But I suppose if we're going to look at any of the positives of this, it will raise the questions over surrogacy and over commercial surrogacy particularly. I mean, this is something there that why this gentleman, when I'd love to hear from the listeners this morning, why did this guy even get the opportunity to have a surrogate child anyway? I mean, this would never happen in Australia. And there are so many people out there and it's a very emotional issue to not being able to have children or trying to have children, trying to adopt, whatever it might be. Now, even with the adoption laws, this guy would not even got past the first barrier to adopt a child, let alone, go through a surrogacy program. And this is the outcry, and this is why it's something there that just really stinks. And Australians have been very vocal, not just in traditional media, but in social media as well. They don't like this fella, they don't like this issue, but the number one thing, they're concerned about the two children, and I think that's the focus. I think we need to focus on the two children and make sure that they're protected, looked after, and that they get as close to a normal life as possible.
Well, I think just about everyone in the world has seen at least some of this wonderful story from Perth from last week too. I mean, it has been talked in a sense to death, but you have to comment on it because you talk about what's been in the media for a week, and that story from Stirling railway station, isn't it?
Stirling railway station. It's just the railway station, one down from me, Andrew. So not far at all. I know the station very well. Look, a young fella by the name of Andy. If you haven't seen this, you've been hiding under a rock or you've been on Mars. It's a story that has gone absolutely global, viral they call it in the social media world, where the YouTube video has just gone everywhere. But a young man has had his leg stuck down the side of the train and next to the platform, unable to move, cannot get it out. The passengers there acted very, very quickly.
I think at first they moved to the other side of the train or something to try and alleviate the weight, didn't they? Before they got out of the train, is that right?
All the passengers, got out, came round, started pushing the train, and the push and the drive from people power, pushing the train to try and relieve the pressure that was obviously on the man, but try to get him out. They got him out. And this video has been seen just about everywhere around the world. Media outlets like Time Magazine, CNN, New York Post, Fox News, the Metro in the UK. Oh, my. Even all the tabloids have run it. It has been a story that has gone international. And you know what? Sometimes I know that we report and we talk about so many of the negative things, but the human spirit that's behind this and the innovative attitude of the people on the platform, and when you think about it, Andrew, I mean, I know Melbourne, very much a train and a commuter society going by train. You wouldn't even know who got on your carriage. Your head's down in your phone or in your newspaper or whatever you're doing. These people, they're heroes.
They are really, each and every one of them. They are immortalised out there in cybersphere, I guess, aren't they, in a sense?
They are, and it'll be seen all over the world. It'll be seen forever. But it's just, we hear so many negative stories on our trains, graffiti, violence, etc. But such a lovely story to see. And, it just happened one station down from me.
Oh, that's great. Yes, that is bears repeating again. It is a remarkable story of the human spirit all working together. Now, Faux Pas Corner with Nic Hayes this morning.
And it's not Tony Abbott, Andrew. It's not Tony Abbott. In fact, he's basking in the light of leadership at the moment.
Yes,
he's
a bit, yes.
Still continuing to knock them over. El Presidente will start calling him soon. He is doing so well, but he's got two colleagues that are going to have to pull their heads in, or they've been going to the wrong school. They've been going to the Tony Abbott faux pas media school because during the week, good old Senator Eric Abetz, he was linking abortion to breast cancer, and that was just unbelievable. The fact that he is even suggesting something from a 1950s research paper. It was on the project. One thing I will say, in slight defence of Eric Abetz, it was by the journalist from Mamma Mia, Mia Freeman, who I don't have a great respect for because her website is pretty much an advertorial website anyway. But she did ask the questions. The questions weren't doctored. And the fact that he was suggesting that completely and utterly wrong, it just tells me that some of our senators, one, may not be necessarily having a good day, but you really shouldn't enter into commentary or enter into topics that you have no idea on.
No.
And too many of them are doing it these days, and I think it just makes our government look extremely foolish.
Yes, indeed.
They need to be better advised and really stay out of those kind of topics, because it just made him look absolutely ridiculous.
Well, also we've got in Faux Pas Corner Senator Brandis too.
Oh, well, yeah, it's from one senator to another senator. Mr. Brandis comes out. He happens to also be our Attorney General, so, he's no fool. But the whole data retention laws, now, for people out there, the online data retention laws that have been suggested and proposed, he did an interview on Sky News, couldn't explain it, really had no idea what he was talking about, got himself even more confused. It was a very embarrassing interview, and it's one, again, that politicians, when they walk into an interview, if they're going to be taking up a subject, not only do they need to know it right from the very beginning to the end, they need to be prepared and think, I know less or I should know more than the journalist that's at the other end. And too many of them walk in thinking they won't ask me the hard questions, I'll get it past it with a couple of one-liners and it's all done.
But Nick, I just interrupt here because you're in this world and know this world better. But don't they have spin doctors who get them through this? Shouldn't they these days have those sort of advisors very close before they do these sort of interviews?
They do, Andrew. They have, and they are very, very well paid spin doctors. They're media advisors. They're people that sit there and literally walk around with them all day. In fact, when you're seeing them being interviewed with all those little noddies in the back, the heads going, oh, yes, I agree with you, Senator. I agree with you, Prime Minister. They're generally either the spin doctors or the people there that are advising the minister. And look, they get paid very well, but you know what? The whole thing is, as much as you are an advisor there to a minister, the minister is pretty much out on their own when they're being questioned and interviewed, and we do focus on those that make mistakes. And big mistakes like this, I mean, for Senator Erica Betts to make a link between abortion and breast cancer, that is just ideologically wrong, and he should not actually be doing that. And what his motivation for even suggesting that is just ludicrous. And look, to be fair to poor old Brandis, who hasn't had a good run of late, he just got himself tongue-tied and caught up in a subject that is way too complicated, too sophisticated, and an issue that he just really had no idea on.
And before we wrap it up this morning, and this is also I suppose, in the realm of spin doctoring, Tony Abbott's hair, is it dyed, Nick? I seem to remember it being more grey 2 years ago. No, I'm not saying he was grey, but it seems to be a very even, milky chocolate these days.
Ooh, he's gone for the S74 dye instead of the TT4. I have no idea, Andrew. As a branding expert, I can find one for you. But look, yeah, he's looking a little different. But you know what? His conversation, his presence now is a lot more presidential. It's a lot more leadership. There's a lot more leadership qualities about him. He's doing things at the moment that he hasn't been able to do as the Prime Minister, and he's doing, well, what many will say is a good job. But how long will it last? How long will it last? How long can Tony Abbott keep it up? Or is this the real Tony Abbott?
Yes.
Are we really seeing the real Tony Abbott? And the other one was just a nervous little schoolboy thinking, well, I'll waffle my way through it. Or is he now graduated and he is our leader?
And he's really in Prime Minister mode. Yeah, we'll find out with time. Thank you very much, Nick.
Andrew, I'll look forward to next week.
Nic Hayes overnight on 3AW with our media profiles.
Hi, it's Alan from House of Recliners. Treat yourself to elegance, comfort and quality with IMG Recliners of Norway. Try these sensational design recliners in leather or fabric today at House of Recliners, Turak Road, Camberwell, or houseofrecliners.com.au.
The small business success